Well, something that's very interesting about Damien is that he understands how to be more than an old-fashioned gallery artist. Damien is an interesting, charismatic person. People want to talk about him, write about him, see him. And it's a personality that is capable of carrying an aesthetic message beyond the object.
Can I have another one of these?
I'll have one of those. What is it all about? You seem to suddenly come on the scene from out of space.
I have absolutely no idea.
Well, why'd you do it?
I've always done it, made things. It seems like a good idea. Can we come in more gently than that?
You get a thrill out of it, obviously.
Yeah, I love it.
Kick.
Yeah, I can't write letters, but I can make art, which is weird.
What you call art.
What you don't call art. You haven't even seen it. What have you seen?
I saw that shark thing.
What do you think of that? Crap.
Well, it was just like a shark, stuffed with something or another.
It's called The Physical Impossibility of Death in the Mind of Someone Living.
Bloody mouthful that is, isn't it?
The bloody all are. Sharks get big mouthfuls though, don't they?
Damien is one of the few artists who is capable of coming up with very strong visual images. And I think that's the basic thing. That's what makes an artist interesting. Can an artist come up with an image that is strong, emotionally compelling, and memorable? And Damien comes up with images that you remember. You can also intellectualize about the work. You can talk about its connections to other art and to life. But basically, there are very strong images that, since I've seen them, I've kept in my mind.
But I saw the thing you had with flies, a head or something, other than
didn't you like
flies
that one?
eating cubes of sugar.
Yeah, and
That was quite amusing.
Yeah, that was good.
One piece that made a particularly strong impact on me was the fly piece, the large compartmentalized work with one of those extraordinary fly electrocution machines. The kind of thing that, even though it's such a crazy thing, people just treat it sort of matter-of-factly. And Damien had the sensitivity to realize this is something crazy. And this is typical of his approach. Took something very banal and intensified it, looked at it in a new way by changing its context, by making it larger, and it becomes a torture machine and something that is, the way it's constructed, very much a metaphor for a lot that goes on in our life today.
Well, I love the blood side of it.
Do you think that's important?
Well, it was. It was a real horror, torture.
Because I've started doing that kind of thing, but it's like people say it's sensational stuff. It's really easy to make someone feel sick if you chuck some blood around or something.
Well, there's plenty of it all over the world, isn't there, in real life?
Shouldn't really be subtle, should it?
Subtle?
Subtle.
Oh, no, I don't think subtle. Truth. The real horror. What's it about? Explain it to me.
Well, the way it's made is...
A load of guts?
Yeah, guts and formaldehyde. And what I did was that there's 4 cabinets, and in each one there's different combinations of 2 different cows. See, there's the 2 brains in one heart, you know, like, and all this kind of stuff, and entrails and internal organs. Basically, like a cabinet's like a kind of outside, like a body or something like that.
Why is it called The Lovers?
It's called The Lovers because it's basically about the idea of, you know, there's all these kind of terms like your heart's not in it, or, you know, the perfect kind of love is if you both feel the same way about each other. But
well,
some people, you know, some people use the mind too much, some people use the heart too much, you know, and all that kind of stuff. And I quite like the idea of using cows in a really basic kind of scientific way and hacking up the cow and going, okay, let's get the heart from this cow, let's get the heart from that cow, then they're in love, plonk, here, there. One brain. only one of the brains are engaged and all the entrails, and it's like the combination of two people, you know. I mean, I really like the way that you talk about art in terms of relationships, like blue next to red or green next to blue, and then you talk about your emotions and your relationships with people in terms of relationships. So you can say, I'm having a relationship at the moment, and then you can also say, like, this relates to that in this particular way and communicate something.
I just never know where I am with you. You're just so inconsistent. You never tell me how you feel. You never tell me that you love me. You're never around.
I love you, for God's sake. I love you. What do you want me to say?
Why do you have to say it in situations like this? Why does it have to be so...
Oh, God, I always say it.
You don't. You only say it when we have these silly conversations.
We can't just start picking these examples and come out with them, but who said it 9 times yesterday and who said it 8 times the day
I don't
before.
want it to be like... I don't mean it to be like that at all.
I love you.
Yeah, but...
There, I love you.
Do you really love me?
Yeah, of course I do.
Really?
Of course I do. I wouldn't say it if I didn't.
Why don't you have a pair of pickled bollocks?
Because it's all to do with the inside, not the outside. They're emotional, not physical.
And this is another lot of pickled stuff.
No, that's the one piece. That's one sculpture, all 4.
What's that called then?
The lovers.
Oh, that's the lovers. That's the lovers.
The lovers, yeah. People trying desperately to get together against science or something like that.
Really?
My first reaction was to be quite intrigued at how Damien took something very banal, say a medicine cabinet that everyone has in their home, and expanded on this, sort of multiplied it by a factor of 100 in terms of size, intensity, and created something that was at the same time very familiar, yet nightmarish, menacing, and says a lot about what people are thinking about today, about the effect of these kinds of drugs on people's behavior, people's minds. You know, there aren't that many basic human themes that are that strong. One is death, the fear of death, and you see that certainly very strongly in Andy Warhol and Andy Warhol's disasters. It's one of the great themes, and that's one of the themes that Damien has taken on in his work.
I know one.
I don't want to hear about
Did I tell you the one about the guy who
No.
sawed his hand off in the Circular Saw?
Oh, for God's sake.
What?
Stupid.
They're not stupid.
Stupid.
People watch
I
horror
have no
films.
interest. I don't. I have no interest in his gory
This
stories.
guy got his hand sawn off from
I'm
here.
really not interested in listening to him.
He was pulling a
Please,
big,
will you
big piece
stop?
of wood.
We are here inside the work that is yet to be assembled. And what it involves, it is a large glass vitrine. On one side is a very ominous-looking barbecue, and on the other side, the remains of a dinner table where a conventional middle-class family has just enjoyed their Sunday barbecue. And what I think this work will communicate is the strained violence that is beneath the calm facade of a happy family gathering. All the tensions, and the feeling of entrapment.
Just want to know how you feel.
I keep telling you, everything's fine.
Yeah, but you're not saying it like things seem fine or anything.
Because they're not fine, that's why.
So why do you say you feel fine if you don't?
You should know. You should know. If you don't know, then...
Forget it. Forget I even asked.
Yeah, just forget it.
You smoke too much.
Well, I'm pissed off.
So you're pissed off.
Well, I'm pissed off.
Why?
with you, with everything.
Why? I don't understand.
They're a very rare breed of people that understand your work.
No, because like you said, you know, before, you know, it's like I don't mind if people find it humorous or serious or straightforward, you know. I mean, I have, they're like triggers, you know, that create all kinds of different things. I mean, kids run around the fly piece, and if you run around it, the flies go crazy, and to me that's sort of like a delicious interpretation of it.
Do you think you have stores of this inside of you to be able to produce through the rest of your life?
I think every day I wake up I have to reinvent myself. It's like
Before
a new
you
day.
reach death?
I don't believe I'm going to die.